Whereas on our side, our mindset is globalized. We see the other fellow black person as an allied force, as the more numbers, the more for us. We see another fellow person as someone who's on our side because we think we share the same struggle. We think we have established the same enemy. They don't see it like that. The people you think it's an enemy. For them, it's a source of survival. It's a source of income. Them having access to Mzungus, it's a survival instinct for them. They don't see these systems currently now as an enemy. That's why they flock to UK. That's why they flock to South Africa. They flock to the USA. For them, Mzungu, it's a custodian of civilization. Another black man, it's an enemy that is standing on the way. That's why when they get to America, the first thing they do is to fight black Americans. When they get to South Africa, the first thing they do is to fight black South Africans, because where they come from, the only enemy against them and the system they could benefit from has always been the black man.
Yeah, it's so sad, man. Yo, I feel sorry for their kids, man. It's so sad.
Mshalifa, this is funny, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm not. It's a Nigerian. He lives in Britain now. He's telling South Africans that are hiding behind.
If like hooligans and animals. No, man.
They don't even understand that the road.
Uganda. He's from Uganda. He lives in England. He's coming to tell South Africans about migration. Whereas in Uganda itself, they have got the Ugandans that are in Uganda are crying about migrations that comes from Somalia, that are busy messing up their people there. They have got the same issues. Who is he to come and advise South Africans when he, in his own yard, he has got the same problem? Even worse, because those people, when they are there, they are actually messing up Uganda. Who is he? A British man who lives in America, now his children are British. They are no longer Ugandans.
Look how proud they said. Like, I don't understand that sense of I'm in another man's house. These people, and you must watch how they are treated in these other countries, because we go there to visit, to shop, to go there and then come back. You know how white people feel about you, but they still brag about being in Mzungu's countries, and then this is better, but they own nothing, because anything can be taken away from them like that, but they still don't see it. You say that, go back home and make sure you have a place. You know where your grandfather is buried. You know where his father was buried. You know where your heritage is, but they're so quick to jump. I just don't understand, man. Maybe, I don't know.
You know, my brother, you mentioned something about the road. They can't even figure out, Hore, a road is part of the economy. It's part of circulating the economy. So you must have a road. They don't understand basic things like that. They don't. Like, these people are amazing. Honestly, the way they think being in South Africa will change Nigeria. Even the opportunity that they have now to actually speak about what is happening in their country, they will come out and hide it. They will come out and brag on that nothing that they have. Yeah. They'll come out and shame us.
No, my sister.
And remember, Rose, the guy was here talking about our minerals, the Mzungu this, but they forgot that they also have their minerals in Zimbabwe. Isn't it that they are taking them to Dubai, the gold smugglers? And he's not saying anything about that. But he has got a mouth to talk about South African minerals. I don't understand these people.
You know what is your point? I think South Africans in general, our collective population, we went through the school of thought of being taught Pan-African ideology. Like it was all over when we were growing up. Even our songs, our music, even ANC, you can hear it's African National Congress. South African political party are not central to South Africa. So the memo we got from as when we were young as babies, it was always that our vision is to fight for Africa. This problem, it's a continental problem. These people don't have that mindset. They have a tribal mindset. The rest of most African people are not global people. They are not global people. And you have to understand the tribal mindset, how it works. The tribal mindset is not yet elevated to understand the racial concept, because when you get to the racial concept, you are looking at a globe now. You are going beyond the borders of Africa and try to understand the landscape of Europe, the landscape of Asia, the landscape of South America, and how they perceive you as an African. These people don't have that concept. They skipped. That concept was never taught to them because they never really experienced it, since they never really lived with the multiracial groups that are in their systems.
You know, when you say that, point, sir,
on the ground.
You know, when you say that point about tribalism, we don't have a problem. I'm Kimusotu Namtaten.
Yeah.
My wife Kimutuana. However, you find Musotu anyetse Muzulu hante. You find Likota linyetse Mutuana. You find we don't have any problem about tribalism. Have you ever heard Bar Mazulu le Makota Balwana, or like this a sense of this one is Muzulu, this one is Xhosa, this one is Sutu, this one is Venda? No. Have you ever had such a thing with us as South Africans?
And I don't understand. Let me say this, Mujalefa. And we used to have those things. Remember, I'm not painting a rosy picture about us where we come from historically. We used to have those
about
things.
Today, I'm talking about today.
No, I want to explain it. But because Black South Africans in particular, the global system is here now. You know, we for centuries we have lived with everyone of the whole world, and we had to understand the history of many people because they were imposing themselves to us as settlers colony. We had to know our enemies, as Mandela said, right? This thing has made South Africans have a global mindset. We are globalized as people. That's why we don't have time for tribalism. We know that we had no choice earlier on in the colonization of this land, that if we didn't remove the tribal approach, we were forever gonna be controlled. So we had to move away from tribal approach and be at the national level, where all the tribes, regardless of whether you are Zulu or Ndebele, we are all in the boundaries of South Africa. We have to unify in that concept. These people haven't went there, because if you go to where they come from, the tribes are still a biggest factor, and throughout their lives, the worst enemy has always been the black man. The white of colonizers actually in their land imposing the system. These systems are controlled from a distance. So they have got these puppet gatekeepers who are black, who are sitting there controlling their power through tribal division and all that. So these people, the enemy, they actually know it's the next black person.
There's John from Britain here. He's saying we cannot hide behind white development in South Africa, but he is hiding himself in Britain.
But let me make this point, I want you guys to understand the mind of our Africans. Think the people we are dealing with today. Their whole life, the problem is all they are too backwards. They like to be petty. They are resentful. You just want to stay away from these people. That's it.
Listen to the rationale when you meet a lot of these brothers that have a green and white flag. They say they brag about having top jobs in abroad, in their diaspora, but they can't create the same things for their own communities where they come from. First of all, look at the roads. Let's just talk about roads. We have roads in the poorest places in the township. There's a road that you can walk on. They don't even have roads in the richest neighborhoods in their countries. And then they talk about being giants. We never had been a time where South Africans were bragging about being better than any Africans. That's when we learned this kind of language from all these other Africans claiming to be better. And then that's when it all started to see this. Why are these people competing instead of us moving forward to make sure that everyone's house is clean so that we can make sure the community is clean? I don't understand this kind of mentality.
In one of these, it's not in I forgot the states, man. They're busy with the hub, but that's Chinese helping them to increase the production, because they can barely even build their own harbors where the goods coming from outside Nigeria can be shipped in. They depend so much on the one harbor that is in Lagos. And the biggest problem, as you were saying, my sister, this is where I was saying tribalism is a big factor even to the economy. Even the harbors that are dominantly used in Nigeria, they are centered around the dominating tribes. Let's say the Zulus have got KZN and the Xhosas have got Western Cape and Eastern Cape. And then let's say the further we go to our west, you find maybe the Basotho and the Tswanas. And then because of those tribals, the tribes that are dominating on the coast, they get now to dictate which harbors are used the most and how the goods are coming to the country. Imagine that as well. So they're holding themselves back, and this is the reason I'm saying they skipped that period of being globalized. Once you have a mindset of being globalized, you realize that wasting time fighting your tribalism, it's a waste of time. You need to be a nationalist. You need to start seeing an Igbo and Yoruba as same people as long as you are under the flag of Nigeria. They don't have that mindset. So how can, and this is the reason why I say when they come to South Africa, when they step in South Africa, the first thing they detect is that the black man here is going to be my enemy. So I must find a way to belittle him and show Muzungu that this black man is lazy, he's not fit for this system. Put me on this system, I'll be above at last. There will be you and I'll be here in the middle and I'll control, because that's what it is where they come from. They've been competing with black people all through their lives. They've never competed with anyone physically out there. So the colonizers control them through a distance. So they've never seen them physically being the enemy. So their biggest enemy is always another black man. So they come here with that mentality.
And why do you think black Americans don't like them either? Black Americans, and the sad part, black Americans don't see South African, Nigerian, or so forth and so forth, but they just see African. They complain to say that, why are these Africans behaving in such a manner, whereby they teaming up with our oppressors to make sure that, what are they doing? Like, it doesn't make any sense. How do you go to somebody's house and then you team up with their enemy to bring back those persons? It doesn't make any sense. Whereby your country back home, it's even worse. And then you find that a lot of these in the diaspora, they're bragging about what they have, what they've done, what jobs they are doing in the diaspora. There's the first, Nigerians are doing this. Nigerians are doing so much better than African Americans. But however, why aren't they bringing that expertise back home? Let's just start by just roads, simple roads, my man. Whereby you have your beautiful cars, but you're driving in dust where you are. None of them have roads. Even in the suburbs, they don't have roads. So what are we learning from these people? Man, come on, man.
When these people, they will promise you heaven and earth. You understand what I'm saying? They're all doing well in UK, in America.
That live in there. Nigerians, they were kicking them out, the body corporate, because we didn't even know. So what they do is there's always two at a time in the house. They swap around to say that if this one is in the house, just make sure that the white people don't see, because white people always complain. Maybe some of us are black people are mostly ignorant to these things when it comes to complaining about other people and so forth. But we recently found out there's 17 of them living in that one apartment, whereby they pretend.
And that thing is not only happening in South Africa. You go to America, go to the UK.
When you just see two guys. When they went in, they even had a meeting with the body corporate. They had to bring us in, the landlords and so forth. When we went in, it's beds everywhere. They sleep in the kitchen, they sleep in the dining room, others sleep in the bathroom, others sleeping in the bedroom. And then this is the kind of things that they're bragging us about when they say they have money, they have making it there. Man.
And they always claim that, no, have you ever heard, is it the Rutendo, that spokesperson of ZANU-PF, saying that Zimbabwe is doing well, everything, but they were busy begging them Mzungus to come back. There are few Mzungus that went back, they were celebrating, slaughtering chicken, our Mzungu is back, you hear the Nigerians telling you about the development, hey, Nigeria, this, but they still don't even have electricity there. Generator is running 24/7. The load shedding that we guys had here, at least it was even scheduled. They will tell you it will be out. You won't have electricity at this time. Hey, go to Nigeria, brother. Go to Lagos. It can switch off anytime without even warning.
And besides that, essay on point, that when they say Muzungu built South Africa, blah blah, you will think their countries were built by them, which is not the case. Lagos was built by the British Empire, so are the rest of whatever the little things are remaining in the rest of the other states. I think it's 16 of them, or they say 32. I'm not sure about the figure. And then even Abuja, yes. Abuja was designed by a Japanese, built on the financial architect of USA. The current Harvard project I told you about is being constructed by the Chinese companies. The Aliko Dangote refinery is built by the Indians and the South Koreans. You know, there's this other, the Eco Atlantic, which is the extension of Lagos, is owned and built by the Lebanese. So it's like, that's what I'm saying, man.
And then when you look at that, same example,
let me just make this point.
Okay.
If they can stop these petty fights, thinking they have to prove themselves to be better than Black South Africans, we will be far, because as I said, Black South Africans have a mindset Black South Africans have a mindset of Pan-African. We are already a global people. So for them trying to be tribal and thinking they need to compete with us, that's besides the point. We don't compete with other black people in our culture. That's not our mindset. It's planning to go. I think game is gone as well. There was a point Nigeria had more than 300 South African companies. Today, I think only just 100 is left there.
And it's because of the buying power they don't have.
The market is very unpredictable, because the next thing, Naira, like look at Naira now, and these are things that we should be, as you will think, these are things as Black Africans will be sitting down, because it's not good. It's not making anyone happy to see that Nigerians are struggling. Their economy is unpredictable because the systems are controlled by the outsiders, right? Those are not good things. But then you end up petting them as well. You end up laughing at them because they cannot wait to find any negative thing about Black South Africans and make fun of it. So you have to retaliate as well now. Now you are caught up in these dynamics where now you are falling into the tribal set as well, because they are pushing you to the limit where now you have to prove your position. You have to defend your people as a Black South African. Then we're wasting time on those things now.
You know, when you say that, sir, you know, I just remember a point of a great man that once said, "They are Africans and they are Kafirs." I think there's a huge difference between Black Pan-Africanists, Black people that are there to make sure that all Black people are winning. And then there's those ones that are against progress. We need to identify those people as well, to show that these people are the ones that are anti-progress of the Black people. This competition thing of these Nigerians and so forth, this came with them, man. I don't understand how they think, these people, man.
Because for the longest of time, come to think of it, we didn't really care. I didn't grow up so focused on what is happening in other countries, what is not happening in other countries. I've always thought of myself as an African. But immediately we opened our eyes and we saw these people are not here to build with us. These people don't love us. In actual fact, they're here to destroy what is good in Africa. I mean, reality is a lot of things that are happening in Africa. South Africa is the one that is the foundation of them all. Reality is, even the BRICS bank, chances are it's going to start in South Africa. We're going to have that bank in South Africa. Of course. It's not a flex. It's not a flex. It's a fact. It's a fact. Where can they have it?
Remember, my sister, we already put out, I think we invested 18 billion rand or US dollar, but whatever the amount we invested on the BRICS bank, it's equal to China, Russia, Brazil, India, even when the economies and the populations are not the same. I don't know if it's the law of BRICS countries, the former BRICS countries, but it seems like if you check, there's a chat table that shows the investments and the founders of BRICS Bank. The investment were equal. I checked this around, I think it was 2021, could be 4 years ago. Maybe things have changed, but I'm saying the initial stage, we all invested equal amount on that BRICS Bank. So it's definitely in Africa. It's going to start in South Africa.
We are not bragging. We're not bragging about it. It's a win for Africa. I mean, look, the way they have almost distracted us from what we really want as South Africans. Look now, the issue with the bank. Already people are negative about this bank issue that's happening. Already we're not going to bank in it as South Africans. Why? Because of this attitude that they have. Reality is, these people don't want unity. They just want to move to South Africa. And South Africans are smart enough to call it out. We don't want, we are already trading as Africans. We don't have to move to each other's countries. We don't.
Then do you know what the BRICS Bank means, my sister? If BRICS Bank is going to function like traditional capitalist environments that we know, like the IMF, for example, if BRICS Bank is going to become the parallel to IMF as they always function, which is driven by probably even profit. That means now South Africa having shares there. When the BRICS Bank lend its money or whatever the value chain they will create to other countries, South Africa has interest as well there because it's a member state to the shareholding of BRICS Bank. And then
Absolutely.
when South Africa takes its loans, let's say we want to loan something on BRICS Bank, there's a high chance that we might be paying zero interest. So this kind of things, that's why I always say, you know what? At the deepest part of my heart, I'm disappointed by ANC local. And when I try to always explain to people, but when I always say internationally, I think they did have a blueprint. They put us in a position where if things go according to the plan, we are really predicted to be one of the most prosperous countries. That's how I look at. That's when I only look at ANC like, you know what? Here they did something right, but locally, I always submit like that. ANC locally is disappointed, but internationally they seem to know what they're doing. Honest, like you look at the moves they've done on the BRICS alone, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, you can't take that away from them.
We have to even in the era Zuma that we can almost have so many opinions over. Some good things that come out. I think you're right. You're absolutely right.
And these guys, when they're talking of Mzungu, I mean, we have got a new city here in Waterfall here, you know, which it was done. I'm not sure if I had Mangalifa because I got a call. You were talking about FIFA World Cup, the development, how trains, you know, I mean, the Waterfall here. You know, it's also, I mean, even the richest square mile in South Africa, you know, most of the developments, the everything that you see, majority of all those buildings were done after 94. So I don't, and then that's black government, by the way, you know. So you are dealing with people that are still living in the 60s. The other one here is telling Rose, is saying Rose is too young to understand what Ghana and Nigeria have done for contribution to
my friend. One thing
no, he is too old to remember what Nigerians have done to Ghanaians. Ghana must go.
I was about to say that. This thing of them saying, remember what we have done for your country, and so on. This is just a weak man's validation. A weak man's seeking validation is a man that wants to be included for not doing anything. You know, it's the same thing of taking drugs, because you're giving dopamine to your system for something you have not done. You're giving your system a reward for nothing.
F1, guys, F1.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Yeah, powder. So it's the same thing when they're taking powder. It's a sense of seeking validation to say that, yes, we have helped you. Yes, we have done this. Where that's all they can stand on, whereby there's not even proof of that being happening. Instead of us, you know, the one thing ideally I would have loved.
What kind of people these people are? No one will take. They don't even take responsibility. I mean, accountability.
You know, as a point, I understand Mabosu's stance when he said he used to be a Pan-Africanist rather. Growing up, you know, you used to think when you see liberation struggles, you see Abu Thomas Sankara fighting for their countries. Those were the heroes that we grew up, that my grandfathers, our fathers taught us to say that these are the men that are fighting and making sure that Africa is a strong power and that it is. But you find when you meet these individuals now as you grow up, you meet Nigerians, you are so disappointed in terms of their level of thinking, their level of bringing
reasoning
sense. Like their reasoning capacity, these people, and they claim to be educated, they claim to educate these are the blacks that we need to stay away from. These are the ones that are not progress. They're not bringing any progress moving forward. Or they're talking about do this, but they don't do it for themselves. How can I tell you to wash the dishes in your own house, but my house looks like a mess? How do I have the right to even tell you, oh, your house is dirty where mine is worse? I mean, man, come on, man.
Exactly, my brother. Let me just say this, and the danger they don't see with this. Do you know that as Black South Africans, for example, now, we are the most respected group on BRICS membership when it comes to Africa. Even if other African countries, they all join tomorrow, but we will always exhaust the most influence there. Do you know that we black South Africans, that this generation, us speaking here, you know that we are the future leaders who will be sitting on the BRICS table tomorrow. Now, they've created this resentment that they've been fighting with us for years. How do they think this impact will work in the near future? These people don't understand the scale of the damage they are doing, to a point where it's working against them. And I continue to say this. We have got the strongest member power as African state on United Nations. We have got the strongest member power on G20 as African state. We also have got the strongest member power on BRICS. These three groups are the three groups that are designing the future. They are tailoring what the world will look like tomorrow. And these people